Some of you may or may not know what this is, but this is a baseball. Baseball has been played for almost 200 years, originating here in the United States. Baseball has been coined our national pastime for a reason, and has developed our culture in many different ways. It is important to understand our culture and the sports we play. From Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron to Derek Jeter and Ken Griffey Jr., baseball has survived as our national pastime, beating out sports such as football and basketball. I've been playing baseball since I was a kid. I have first-hand knowledge about the game, and I will explain how baseball is played. Second, I will discuss a brief history of baseball. Lastly, I'll tell the difference in baseball today. Baseball was invented by Abner Doubleday in Cooperstown, New York in 1839. Baseball is a bat and ball game. It consists of 2 non-players teams, 1 pitcher, 1 catcher, 4 outfielders, 4 infielders, and 3 outfielders. There is a batting and fielding team. Teams take turns batting and fielding. The batting team tries to score runs by hitting a ball that the pitcher throws with the bat. The fielding team attempts to get the batter out by either a field out, put out, or strikeout. Baseball is played in 9-inning games. There is no time clock. 3 outs from both teams fielding in the game, or in the inning. Innings are separated into a top and bottom. The away team bats in the top of the inning, while the home team bats in the bottom of the inning. Baseball is a complex sport where anything can happen, so I hope these rules helped you understand the game a little better. As I stated previously, baseball was invented by Abner Doubleday in 1839. Baseball originated as rounders before the Civil War. In 1846, the first official game of baseball was played. The Cincinnati Red Stockings were the first all-pro team. You may know them today as the Cincinnati Reds. In 1871, the first pro baseball league was formed. It was known as the National Association of Baseball Players. Today it is known as the National League. In 1921, the first radio broadcast of baseball was aired. At the turn of the century, baseball came around as their national pastime. Baseball came of age when Babe Ruth led the New York Yankees to several World Series between the years of 1914 and 1935. In the 1950s, baseball started to expand to western cities. The teams were divided into 2 leagues then, the American League and the National League. This is just a brief history of the game of baseball to help you understand how baseball has developed. Baseball today has changed in many ways, and in many ways it is still the same old game. Steroids have had a huge impact on how the sport has changed over the years. Players in baseball are bigger than they were in the 1950s. The average player in the MLB is 6 feet 1 inch and they weigh 207 pounds. In the 1950s, the average player was only 5 foot 8 inches and weighed 186 pounds. More pitchers completed games in the early days of baseball. Pitchers in the beginning of baseball would pace themselves at a certain speed so they complete the whole game. Pitchers today constantly throw as hard as they can, knowing someone else can come in and throw for them just as hard. Also today, there is a pitch count rule, limiting the number of pitches a pitcher can throw in a game. In today's baseball, there is a major increase in pay. Babe Ruth, arguably the best player to ever play, was only paid about $1.1 million in today's money. The highest paid player in the MLB today are Clayton Kershaw and John Lester, who both make $30 million a year. The attendance in baseball games has also increased. In the early 1950s, the NL only had about an average of 13,700 fans, and the American League only had an average of 11,700 fans. Today, the National League has an average amount of fans of 34,000, and the American League has an average amount of 31,000. All in all, baseball is still the same sport as it was in 1839. I hope this speech has taught you a lot about baseball. First, I explained how baseball is played. Second, I gave a brief history of baseball. Last, I told about the difference in baseball today. From the days of Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron to Derek Jeter and Ken Griffey Jr., baseball has survived as their national pastime. As Babe Ruth once said, baseball was, is, and will always will be the best game in the world.